All right. So the first thing we need to do is we need to set a date that I'm going to observe you.
Okay.
And I like to share that you need to establish a personal learning focus. Like when I'm observing you, what is it that you want me to kind of keep track of? I'll give you some examples. Some examples are one teacher wanted to work on time management, so one of the instructional coaches just timed like everything they did throughout the lesson. Another teacher wanted to make sure they had small groups, and they had a tendency to neglect a couple groups.
Okay.
So I drew a little diagram and I just recorded how many times they went to each group.
Okay.
Another teacher wanted to be better at really telling the students, put this in your ISN, and I had one teacher that had 3 goals, like the ISN, the objective, and circulating the room.
Okay.
And so I just wrote how many times they wrote things down about their ISN. Like, it's just objective things I write down to help you be better at whatever you want your learning focus to be. So as you set your date of observation, you might want to think about, like, what's your personal learning focus, and can we record that day?
Okay. You can observe me Tuesday. I guess this is the week.
Okay, Tuesday?
Tuesday will be Tuesday, October the 11th.
So Tuesday, do you have a class period in mind?
Tuesday's third period, probably.
Third period?
Third or fifth. Let's see, fifth period.
Fifth?
Let's do fifth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a second choice just in case I have some? I don't.
Third would be third, fifth first, then third.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So on Tuesday, do you know what your objectives?
We're teaching. It's going to be 8-4C, rate of change equation. Rate of change, constant rate of change.
So your objective will be we
will write equations that represent a constant rate of change.
So we will write equations that represent
constant rate of change.
Constant rate of change.
And we will explain how to calculate the rate of change from a table. All right.
And I think there's places where you can write expand on your objective, because I'm just filling in the main things we need in order to go over the coaching questions.
Okay, fantastic.
Learner background. Before we go over the coaching questions, I like to talk also about learner background, like what previous knowledge do the students need?
I think they need to understand order pairs.
Okay, order pairs. What about the ordered pairs?
Order pairs, understanding location, positive, negative, the 4 quadrants, how to plot.
I'm just going to say how to plot them. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay. How to plot the order.
That's really.
Okay, anything else? Writing equations.
Equations, they should know probably the formula rate of change. Probably they taught that 7th grade or not.
Rate of change?
Yeah. Y equals mx plus b. I'm not sure.
Rate of change.
I guess understanding tables, x and y, domain and range.
Okay.
I don't know if they do or not, but this is the first time teaching 8th grade.
I'm just going to put DNR. If you want to add anything else, you can. You can add on another piece of paper, because I'm gonna give you a copy of this to fill in
fantastic.
Before the observation. I just have a few things I like you to think about before we do these, because I think it makes it easier.
Fantastic.
So now the coaching questions. What do you want them to walk away with that day?
Understanding what rate of change is, and explain rate of change from a table.
Like they should be able to explain. And these are just my notes, so
okay, fine.
If you want,
I don't really have any notes, so just kind of.
So when I'm observing you, I remember what we talked about. So they should be able to explain like what rate of change is.
At the moment, no.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
If you think of stuff, you know,
I'll
we
add
can,
it.
yeah, you can add
The
it
one,
back in.
I guess, prepare for the lesson today.
Right, once you prepare,
Yeah.
some of the questions will be a little more clear. That's why I like to go over your objective,
Okay.
what the background is before we do the questions. But the main thing you want them to know is what rate of change is. And it says your objectives is we will write equations that represent a constant rate of change. So should they, when they walk away that day, should they be able to write equations
They should.
that represent
The
the
difference in this, this
Okay.
will take it for today.
So write equations also. Okay, and then how will you know you are successful? What would that look like, sound like? What evidence will you collect?
The assessment. Oh, let's see, probably.
And you can look at it, you can take your time and look
I
at
don't
it.
know. Listen here, oh, you just gave me,
Is that what you just got
some
from
good
her?
statements, excuse me, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine, and I can,
She,
I can, like I
let's
said, I
see.
can clip the video.
Yeah.
As needed.
What did we do? Oh, she got something.
I'm being assessed, not you.
I didn't say we just got linear functions. So, I guess to explain what the variable is, but why economics plus B represent. How to collect it, I guess it's been ticket out, a formal assessment.
right here.
Yeah.
What's that say? Exit ticket?
It says exit, yeah.
Will you do anything throughout the lesson to also?
Oh, we have the
like-
scavenger hunt, a small group. And then we have a foldable, linear relationship foldable.
So during the scavenger hunt and the foldable, like what could you be doing to know that they're understanding? I guess the foldable is probably, is that gonna be notes?
Foldable will be notes. So I guess their understanding would be from understanding slope of small group will be explain, I don't know,
Like what will you do
what would I do? I'd be
to know
observing.
that they're, okay.
Because it's a foldable and probably understanding what slope is, what the y makes it y-intercept is. They have a scavenger hunt, so in order to understand that, to complete the scavenger hunt, but they have to know what y equals b equals to and the tablet tutorial.
So you said something about you'll be observing?
Observing the students to understand, to understand, and they should be able to explain to me, or a statement in their ISN.
You say that last part again?
They should be able to write a closure statement in ISN for their understanding, explain how would you explain the constant rate of change.
Okay. So I have exit ticket, you're gonna do an exit ticket, that will be a formative assessment. And
Okay.
then during their scavenger hunt foldable, you can observe students to see if they are understanding the concept.
Right.
And then, you could also have them write a closing statement in their ISN
Yeah.
about what they learned.
What the constant rate of change is.
What the constant rate of change. Okay.
Because that's the objective. Alrighty.
And so you've already named some, but what are your strategies that you're considering? It sounds like
Well, we got with the foldables,
okay, foldable,
small group scavenger hunt,
small group, scavenger hunt, okay?
and then the journal writing.
Writing, journal. And then what are your hunches about how those will all go?
My hunches is they're pretty good. I think I don't really have any negative thing to say. I think it'll go well. So I don't really know tell you anything that I don't.
Like you talked about, they need to have ordered pairs, like how to plot the points, rate of change, y equals mx plus b, tables, domain and range, and a lot of that they would have learned in seventh grade. So do you have any hunches about things you might need to think about?
Surprisingly, probably have to review domain and range, probably input and output. and understanding how to read a table. Because,
And how will you review for that?
Probably in the warm-up. Just to see how much you know. I guess you can hook up the lesson also, beginning of the lesson. That would be determined Monday, so.
So you'll do like a review or
A review.
like almost like a pre-skill
Test. Not test, but
in a warm-up assessment.
informal assessment, asking
Right.
questions. What do you know? Tell me what you already know.
That's what I don't know if this is a good coaching strategy, not being videotaped, but I would have recommended in a warm-up either the day before or that day or whatever.
Okay.
So yeah, that's
Okay.
exactly what you came up with yourself. And so what do you want me to, did we establish your learning focus?
We did not establish a learning
Okay.
focus. My focus probably would be to stay on task, because I'm a talker, and so sometimes children ask me some questions just not pertaining to the lesson,
Okay.
and I'm subject to address it then, because I just really need to stay more focused. And so I'm finding myself, as being a grade chair, they want to ask questions that does not have to do with math at all.
Okay, so they have a good time trying to get you off task and talking about.
I don't think it's purposely done. It's just, something that pop in a child's mind. So this is I had that like attention. I'm in a class. Let me ask her now. So this kind of, and then everybody want to participate in it.
And it might be about like other duties.
Other duties, yes.
Or
grades.
things outside their life or.
And so I have a tendency to answer instead of staying focused with the time frame
Okay,
of the lesson.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Do you want me, what would you like me to observe then? Would you like me
How, I guess, staying consistency. I guess staying focused in the lesson, consistency with the lesson as far as
do you want me to
timing.
log like how many times you get off
I
task? Or do
think
you
we
want me-
good. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that, because I might just, get off task.
Okay, number of times off task. Okay, is there anything like in the non-negotiables? Because I like to do something that's totally something you want to improve, and then and then something maybe in the non-negotiables you'd like to work on. I don't have that listed.
As far as time.
Like using word wall, using an anchor chart.
I'm kind of now I'll refer to anchor chart quicker than I refer to the word wall. So that could be something I could work on.
What's that?
Because you're reflecting I guess I'm closer to the anchor chart, just like on the wall, ladies and gentlemen. Well, the word wall is over here. I see it, but for me to reference it may be a little challenging for me.
Are there some words you could put on maybe for that day? Like words you could put up with a picture that goes with it? Like let's think, like slope. Do you have slope up there?
No, this is this week. Monday is a brand new unit, so those will
okay.
change.
So
we
you
can do that.
Something with slope and rate of change, like the connect slope and rate of change, and you put up a picture and then you
Okay.
reference it
Okay.
or something like that. Maybe
Okay.
I'm giving you too much
No, that's fine.
prompting. I'm sorry.
No, because I just know I the anchor trust is kind of closer, so I'm more focused. I can see that then versus
So maybe word wall reference,
yeah,
and then I'll just log
Okay.
when you if you.
fantastic.
I would just put it in the notes if you reference the word wall and how many times or whatever. But I don't think it's about quantity necessarily. It's probably
Just
about
about-
quality. But it's up to you. Are you really okay with that one?
I'm
Do you
really
have
fine with that. Yes.
You have something else
No,
that you
that's-
want? Okay.
we're good with that. Too many things make.
I'm probably giving answers.
No,
but
I'm
supposed
good.
to.
No,
Okay.
I can handle that. Yes.
All right. And then last thing, as you reflect on this conversation, how has it supported your learning? How might you incorporate? Well, how has it supported your learning? Let's just do that one.
How it's supporting my learning?
Yeah.
It's making me conscious that I need to stay focused on teaching strategies and implementation of non-negotiable, I guess.
So it makes you like just more aware, making you think it through a little bit more.
Yeah,
Is that right?
yes, and staying on focus, staying on task. And just get them ready, mindset. I have a lot of wonderful students that, there's more so most people say math is hard. And so that negative mindset's still there on a lot of students. And so try to get them to undo that negative. So math is not hard, math is just practice. And so the more you practice, the better you get at it.
Right. I had another teacher. We just had the conversation that one thing was to build student confidence.
Yeah.
Like they don't want to answer because of the student, kind of the same idea.
Yeah, same idea. And most of the 8th graders they're a mindset that it's already hard, so why try? So I guess the belief system, the power of thinking,
Yeah. activity about math.
It's- yeah.
So how might you incorporate that process? Like when you're doing planning for a lesson in the future, how could you incorporate like what we're doing into your own thinking?
I have to constantly remind them math is easy. Just so because if you think it, it's always going the way. You think math is hard, it's going to be hard. But you start saying math is easy. And I always say the more you practice, the better you get at things. So practice doesn't make you perfect, practice makes you better. Math is a practice skill.
Like, so you want to, when you're planning out, am I understanding, like, so when you're planning it out, you want to be focused on helping the students be more positive about it?
Positive and building confidence to know that they can. Because they already know the score's low. So, we got tests, another test, oh, we got to do this, we got to do this, So it's just having them believe in themselves, really. And that's a challenge, too.
And then what about some of the questions that we went through, like, what do you want them to walk away with? Anticipating, like I liked how you anticipated that they're going to need to know domain and range, input, output, tables, how to plot in order to pair. You thought about what you wanted to be better at, and I'm going to be like kind of like yourself watching I'm you watching yourself or videotaping yourself, and I'm keeping track. You know what I mean? Because if we could watch ourselves sometimes, like every day, we probably would be like, oh wow, and not realize things that we're doing. So that's kind of like what we're doing. So by talking through all this, how could you, like when you're doing your lesson planning in the future, how could you incorporate this process we went through into your own
It's a constant reminder that things to hear, that, you can do anything. It's a constant saying verbally, okay? Because they're very verbal children, and so sometimes just take one negative student to throw it all off. This is too hard. This is too hard. Now to come back and say, no, it's just practice, and it's practice. It's practice. So I guess going back over verbally, saying out loud to the students is, you can do this. Just take practice. Okay. So I guess repeating it again. I don't know how to really answer your question besides.
So no, that's okay. So you're saying like when you're planning it out, you want to be very conscientious of thinking about keeping the students thinking in a positive direction.
Absolutely.
And I guess what I'm probably not being clear about what I'm asking you. Like what about like when you're lesson planning and you're doing your own lesson planning, and I'm not sitting here with you because now we kind of talked through the lesson and I said, okay, what do you want them to come away with? And then we did, what would that look like? And then we anticipated things that might go wrong. So instead of like the student thinking, like you're thinking as far as lesson planning versus, even though that's a good goal, but like how can you put this process into your own thinking?
But if they're able to write, like I said, journal writing, if they're able to set it and set it in words, then that builds their confidence to walk away with this. They have a real picture of what concentrated change is.
So like thinking about incorporating writing in and giving them a good picture.
Right, that'd be good. So yeah, I guess it's kind of, I don't know if it's challenging, but to get them to write their thoughts from their mindset to paper, to understand it, they may be able to draw a picture of what concentrated change, what they see it as, or their understanding is, and so.
Right.
Man.
So when you're doing, I kind of lost my train of thought. So when you're doing, it's not you.
Okay.
So when you're doing the lesson planning, like you're on your own, maybe you already do this. I think that's why I'm probably not being clear about the question. Like, so when you do your lesson planning, do you think through like, okay, how am I going to make sure that I know they know it?
Okay.
And what should I put in the warm up maybe to make sure they know what they need? Like, do you already think through that when you do lesson planning?
I think through it all every day. So yeah, I do kind of.
I think
every day. How can I make sure my students come out where they can be exceptionally well on? The end product is the star. So I noticed that we was doing this week planning that they got simple interest, but they didn't get the compound, which is same thing, just multiplying and adding. So I had to go back and do that. So let's look at it. I had to make a piece of poster. And so I guess a lot of my students is visual learners, more than auditory learners. They finally worked through that. So I guess writing it all down again, step by steps. And I noticed a lot of them not used to writing anything. They just want me to give them an answer. So question. So if they can write what constant rate of change is and write the formula and tell me what those things are, the components of that, that would be very successful to me. And
So it sounds like, yeah, you want to just think through strategies to keep them more positive, to have them right, to think through the steps.
Right.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's what we're doing.
All right. That's good. Okay,
Yeah.
so just more,
Just
let's say more strategies for writing. And I think I wrote focused on improving negative mindset. So
Right.
more aware of something strategies for
I guess
like
building
writing,
confidence.
building confidence within that, and
It's building confidence and then mathematical skills.
yeah, mathematical skills like